Welcome to episode 99 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to just pack a week's worth of friendship and productivity into a single podcast episode and help each other avoid all of our various issues and get something done. Most recently, we've been making a supernatural action comedy comic book called Deathless. And Steven, it's going freaking phenomenally. It's been pretty amazing. You finished all line art recently, and we jumped into shading and coloring this week. I think you wanted to color or like shade a page or two. How'd that go? What happened?
So yeah, page one is basically done. So I just have a few more shades to do there, and I did actually kind of start page two, but I'm just trying to determine how to attack that action line background. Like, do I want to put a glow behind everything that's not black lines? Do I want to, I'm just trying to figure it out, or just leave it alone. I don't know. So I got to put some more shading on it and just see my lighting sources. But yeah, page one is I would say pretty much mostly done. Oh. I don't know if I should, because I'm looking at it and I'm not sure how much I should add. I think I need to keep it even simpler. I think I need to put very minimal shadow.
This is Steven dipping his toe in the water of doing less work. He's like, listen. What if it's a black and white book? What if? Let me just put this out there.
Well, I started adding the whites like I usually do and stuff like that, and they look good, but at the same time, it's I don't want to distract from it. I almost feel like it looks better as a solid colors with the cell shading almost. So I don't know. I'm gonna mess with it. The light brush is amazing.
Yeah, dude, that light brush. So
I can make it hyper detailed.
We can show here. Steven's been, detail shading and coloring the pages, and the first page looks freaking awesome. That light brush that you've been using is so neat.
It's so awesome.
I love it so much,
dude. That tool is so great. You can flick your wrist and everything to make it thinner beam. I don't even change the brush size that much. I kind of just control my sensitivity on it and almost calligraphy it. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of do these clean.
It looks cool. So gorgeous, and it seems and you have a lot. It's seemingly like you have a lot more control than we would if we were to play with various filters and do the Gaussian blurs and all of that stuff. Where it's you kind of lose, you lose that power over it, and it's and you end up the eraser's hard to work with at that point. So but with the light brush, you just kind of do this amazing Ghostbuster effect, and it's awesome.
And you're right, because when you use the blur effects and things like that in Photoshop, depending on where the layer is sitting, you're going to see some black lines come through. Whereas with this light brush, it's kind of already creating the glow effect and everything. Yeah. And if you just put it on top, it's taking ownership over everything else, So it's fun to work with. The only thing I've noticed is bigger balls of energy you have to be careful with, because it puts too much white. It's the outer ring is the color, and then it's really good for tinier lines, but it's not that great for orbs. You know what I'm saying? So It's just playing around with it and learning.
So I just want everyone to just recognize my restraint, as Steven talked about how difficult it is to juggle big balls and how easy it is. He was like the big balls are unwieldy. They're wild, and I can't handle them. And I was like, you're right, sir. No, you cannot. You cannot handle it. They're very difficult. And mature. See, Steven, over time, it's been almost 100 episodes. I'm going on my hero's journey here. I'm at the cusp. I'm right here. I went through the belly of the beast. I was fighting that depression for a while, all that deep darkness. And now I'm coming up the other way, and I'm you know what? I'm gonna leave those ball jokes way down deep, Steven. I'm gonna leave those balls where they belong, hanging in the bottom. Just
never bring them up again.
Never bring them up again.
I'm gonna make a demand real quick. Because sometimes demands, we can just make them and they happen. So I want Daniel from the Don't Make It Weird podcast to do a talking, singing thing. You know how he always introduces Sean with a song? He always sings a song. Yes. I want a slight Weird Al parody of 99 Red Balloons, but to 99 episodes. And then just things that we do and have done. That's what I want from Daniel.
That would be nice. I feel since this is episode 99, we might not get that. It comes out.
He needs to do it. When it airs, he has an hour, and then he has to post the link on the very
that would
YouTube.
Be nice. That would be nice. I would take anything from him. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Daniel from Don't Make It Weird podcast is one of our closest friends. Speaking of which, Steven, we've been working toward episode 100 and what we're planning what we're gonna do with that, and Sean has become super instrumental in helping us out through all of that, and
he's so incredible. Producer Sean is the greatest producer.
Yeah, so for those of you out there who might not have seen our various tweets and such about it, next week, or this coming week if you're watching this, Monday, August 1st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Steven and I are going to record live episode 100 of We Have Issues. We're going to do this podcast live in front of anyone who wants to watch, and it's freaking me out, Steven. It's freaking me out. We're gonna do a giveaway, a couple giveaways. I think we can give away a few books depending on how many people show up and if people are interested. We're gonna do like a Q&A thing. I also think we're gonna keep it pretty simple and do like our standard show, just like we would every other week. I want to do a couple of segments, like maybe Pitches Get Stitches, maybe Comic Conjectures has been fun. We can do a couple of those things and then just talk about what we're doing going
whatever
forward.
Whatever you guys want to talk about, that's going to be a fun part, like being able to interact with people. So also Tina wants to be a part of it, so I mean we can bring her along too, and that can be helpful.
This is the live show in which I get fired from my own podcast. Like, what happened to Anthony? His camera's still on, but he walked away and cried. And then Sean swiftly put his bedroom background behind Tina, and we're good now. We're just good now. Everyone's good. No one needed Anthony. No, dude, that'd be awesome. I love Tina. I would love to have Tina on forever. But yeah, so join us for that. I'm gonna post a link to that below, so you can click the remind me button if you're interested in joining us for that, because I think it's going to be a fun time. It's something that Steve and I have never done. We've only done a couple of live shows with other people's podcasts, but we've never done our own, and I'm a little. I mean, I'm just naturally nervous about it. I try to just get over that nonsense, and I know in the moment it's fine. I have to get out of my head. It's like you ever do the thing when you're in school when you're reading a book aloud and they're they call in various people to read a couple chapters or read a couple paragraphs, and you're like, then when your time comes, for some reason, none of the words make sense. You're reading it perfectly, in your head while you're reading it, but then, as soon as it's your turn to speak, all of the words seem jumbled, and you feel like nothing you said made any sense, even though you read the words as it said, and you're like, it's like, I'm so disassociated from the book that I'm actually reading with my own mouth that, I don't even know what happened. I have no comprehension of the two paragraphs I just read.
I literally just blip out. It's like Thanos snapped,
yeah,
and then snapped again, and I came back and as soon as I was done reading.
Yeah, and I get because I become so,
and that's what it's like with those shows.
Yes, yeah. And I become weirdly aware of am I doing this? Am I leaning forward too much? Am I doing, and then all this stuff. But meanwhile, I'm still in this I don't know, automatic, mode of just talking and answering questions and being myself. But I'm just internally also wait a second, but what if you're terrible? And what if, so I'm just and then of course we get people like Eugene who showed up. For those of you who might not have seen, Steve and I were our first ever live interview with someone. We're imagine us just Steven, I don't know how this is gonna go. What if someone shows up and just says I'm bad? And he's like, it'll never happen.
Who would do such a thing?
Who would do such a thing? And then
my name is Eugene, and I am logging on to do just that said thing.
So we did an interview with the Living Comics Layer, which was fantastic, and you should check out their channel. They do a lot of stuff to promote indie comics, and they're pretty great. They also just released a book recently that's getting a lot of praise and seems really cool, and I'm glad. I'm really happy for them.
Yeah, those guys are both very talented. So
yeah, seriously. So we were on their show, and just in the middle of having a silly conversation about Disney characters, this person named Eugene logged on specifically to tell us that we suck. And I'm
just a very simple, this sucks, period.
Yeah, this sucks. Come on, man. Come on. But anyway, it's who cares? But so we have Sean for Just Such an Emergency because he's going to be there producing our live show and helping us to like get rid of the riffraff.
I've got my orange safety producer for just this occasion.
So I don't know, dude. Is there anything for episode 100 that you want to do that like we haven't talked about yet?
I think like in terms of what I want to do, of course, like I think our segments are great. I think it's a great episode to show people what we do, like some of the games that we play, such as Anthony Dates. It's not really a game, but Anthony Dates Robots, and
my whole life is a game, Steve.
But episode 100, obviously showcasing what we already do, but I think it's going to be cool because we have discussed it and we can lead into this, introducing like a new format for certain things that we're going to be doing in the future in terms of interviewing people and our plans to kind of marry that with the podcast episode every week. So that's going to be fun to introduce that concept to the people that follow us, and love on us and share us.
Sure. I think like shortly after, like the next week, I'm gonna start making a schedule if I can, because we've been getting a lot of love in our DMs on our podcast Twitter page. Like so many people have contacted us, so many people have like come forward and been super supportive. We made a lot of new friends, like Lee and like all these awesome people who are just coming forward and just constantly like sharing our posts, like people like Jackson, and like all these awesome people.
Chisolo at Chisoilo, CHI soil, like the ground soil.
Chisoilo.
Sorry if I'm butchering it, but they are incredible too. Like they've been sharing the crap out of it for us, and just finding like our podcast in random threads and being tagged in like random threads just about other content. It's like been like, I don't know, man. Like this last like month has been pretty intense for the podcast in terms of being shared, in terms of like meeting new fans that like I didn't think we'd have like this stage again where we'd have these people that are like just so awesome. Like I felt like we had it, we had that first wave of people that were just so amazing and so supportive, and it really did push us along. I think of people like Michelle and Chicago Tony V, everyone at the Don't Make It Weird, like all those people, like that was our first like big shove, and this feels like shove number 2. Like it's crazy and it's awesome.
Dude, it's amazing. Like we've met so many cool, supportive people from like the writing community, the podcasting community, I feel like we've met a lot of cool people from the comics community, or like we've met like a handful of like really cool and supportive people from the comics community.
Steve Reyna
and
Edwin.
But it's only been really recently that people have been responding to our Twitter posts from the comics community. Like Gail Simone followed our podcast,
cool.
Dude, like a lot of really cool people are following the podcast now and starting to like interact with us more. Part of that, dude, is because like I've been feeling like despondent and like upset like in my Twitter bubble, not like it's funny because like my home life and like love life has been so great lately that like I'm not getting enough like love and attention on Twitter in my personal Twitter account for me to justify it. I'm just like, I don't want to be here. You don't like me, and it's fine. I still.
But it's because the home life is just so gorgeous now that like anything would look like shit in comparison. Really, I mean, like it's basically what's happening.
Yeah, and there are like some pros and cons here because like, dude, like it's so much harder to go to work and work like a retail job and deal with those people and look at their stupid, like angry, aggressive faces and like have to like tolerate their ignorance and idiocy, knowing that I have this great situation at home. Like it's hard to be like, oh, I'm gonna take myself from this and throw myself into that pit of death, like, ugh, it's terrible. And occasionally Twitter feels like that. Twitter kind of feels like because there are some bright spots in Twitter. There are like some fantastic people. There are like good little bubbles that exist for sure. But every once in a while you find yourself in this sand trap spiraling, seeing these accounts where like all they're doing is like hating on people, or all they're doing is like complaining about hating on people, or all they're doing is, like complaining about creeps. I'm just like, and I get it. Like in a lot, like it's, people can post whatever they want, but I'm just saying like when 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 a particular part of your life starts to be colored by other people's negative experiences, and it's like, it's draining and it's exhausting, and it's not why I'm there to begin with, you know? And like, as much as I want to like be supportive and do what I can to help people in any various, you know, like situation that they have and help through their issues if I can, I can't completely let those issues drag me down into whatever various sand traps. Like, I'm already navigating my own stuff, you know, and like, so anyway, I find myself going through that on Twitter occasionally. And I'm just like, what do I do, you know? And like, I was like, I'm not really having that much fun being myself. Last time I was like, I'm gonna go be Keanu, and then this time I'm like, I'm just gonna focus on the podcast. I'm gonna post podcast stuff and like comic book stuff, and I'm gonna try to support comic book people and see what I can do. And dude, people have been so receptive to it. People have been like with open arms, like welcoming our podcast into their various worlds, and it's amazing. It's been so fantastic. Like, we've gained like 100 subscribers in like a month. Is great. Like, we've been like, we kind of
we've been struggling so hard to crack into that. Like, those are the people that we wanted to be around from the get-go, but it's just like, we couldn't. I mean, we've always kind of felt that way, though. We've always kind of been misfits in anything that we do. I mean, This is where we are. We kind of float through life as misfits, honestly. But we find our people along the way because we find the common grounds that we have. That's what we've always done. So that's basically what We Have Issues was for the first hundreds and hundreds of subscribers. Like, it was just finding people that liked us for who we were, weren't necessarily comic heads, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
and now we're meeting people that like us for, you know?
Yeah, well, that's really, and I guess, I mean, that's great, you know, like it's been, like we have like a handful of reviews on like iTunes, and like most of them are like, I never really got into comic books, but I love these guys and like their passion and what they're doing. And I'm just like, yes. I was like, there's no better compliment than the fact that someone can watch this thing about us making comics and not care about comics, but still want to support us. I love that. Like, Chicago Tony V was like that, you know, or it's like people jump in and they're like, they're here for us. And it's just like, that's been like a new, it's been a new situation for both of us, you know, like, we're not necessarily used to having that sort of support, especially from strangers, you know, where it's like, oh my gosh, like, people actually are here for us and they care, and like they show up for our, you know, our crowdfunding campaigns and stuff now. And it's just like
every time
amazing, you know.
Both times have been so successful, and it's because of those people, those same people, you know what I'm saying? So
I'm here today to say, fuck all those people. We don't need them. Just kidding. I love everyone. I'm just kidding.
We never told you guys it was only ever going to be 100 episodes. We're burning this shit down.
Episode, canceling the show. No. Like, can you imagine just like,
turns out we're horrible people. We kept all of your addresses. We have all your credit cards.
We have all your credit cards. We have your grandparents. We've had your grandparents. Episode 6.
We've convinced some of you to send baby ostriches to us. Our war birds will be ready for the reckoning.
For the reckoning. Oh, man. So every week, on top of talking about our various comic book issues and like what we're doing on Twitter and such, Steve and I like to do a couple of segments about things that we think about, things that are important, things that are just fun. Steven, this week, I want to try, because we did it a couple weeks ago and it was fun, and I want to see how it goes the second try. So I want to do Comic Conjectures. Do you have an intro for it?
Comic Conjectures. Comic Conjectures. Runs around to get some stuff.
Comic Conjectures.
Comic Conjectures. Okay, Comic Conjectures.
So for this segment in Comic Conjectures, Steve and I go through the glossary of the DC Comics Encyclopedia. We choose a random letter. So, random letter. Steven, give me any letter.
I'm going to pick the letter K.
Okay, so we find the letter K in the DC Comics Encyclopedia. We choose at random, boop, like this. And we look down and we choose... Okay, that's one I know. Hang on, we have to find one we don't know. Okay, I don't know this one. I mean, it seems like a given, but this is what we do. So we read a name that we're not familiar with, and then we try to guess if they're a hero or a villain. See, it's half a guessing game, half a creation game, which is kind of what makes it fun. So we're trying to figure out if they're a hero or a villain, what their powers are, and maybe who their nemesis is if they have one.
And really, if we're wrong, it just shows you how bad they were at branding that character. So it's on them.
Okay, Steven. This one, Kid Slick. Steven, Kid Slick.
Kid Slick. Okay, so Kid Slick sounds like a good guy, but he could be a bad guy too. And I'm imagining, dude, I don't know why. I'm just imagining having some sort of like projectile shooting thing from his hands or something like that, where he like slicks the road with some sort of not tar, because tar would stick him to the road, but some sort of oil or grease that he allows him to slide through and like move at very, very quick speeds.
It's like, this isn't even a superhero character. It's literally like a Batman-esque vigilante who just uses like hair grease. Just slides. He's a greaser.
And like his like biggest like arch his arch nemesis is like the no skating signs like on like churches and stuff. Like he gets there and he can't slick. Like he just has to. Guess I have to walk with all the
slick.
Kid Slick's got a kid walk. My name is Kid. Kid Walk.
Oh man. I mean, would that be his nemesis then? It's Kid Walk versus Kid
Walk. Kid Walk versus Kid Slick. Which Kid? It's just so unfair for Kid Walk. Like, you know, he's like, this guy is just leaps and bounds ahead of me. Like, and like every time we fight, it's just a race. It's not even a fight. So he literally just wins every time.
Every time. He's like,
you'd be a villain too.
He's like, Mom, you told me. You read the tortoise and the hare to me. The tortoise won every time. I haven't won one race. Not one.
And you even got me the LA lights. Like I'm like lighting up as I'm walking, trying to like look cool at least a little bit next to Kid Slick with his goggles.
Kid Slick taking like naps. He's not taking any naps. Yeah,
he's very dedicated to his slicking. Like he's like, just slicking everywhere.
Okay, Steven. I'm assuming it's not like a greaser who slicks around town. So okay, if you had to take a quick guess at what DC actually made Kid Slick, what do you think it would be?
So maybe like a Billy the Kid situation, like a really smooth, maybe he has the power to like kind of sway people like the Purple Man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
he's slick. Like he's got like an aura about him. Maybe his pheromones adjust people. You know, like
I can see that they can go that would be fun. Oh, I'm excited for this, dude. Okay, so Kid Slick is a hero. He's a member of the Doom Patrol. The character was at some point primarily a member of the Doom Patrol, a long-running team of ragtag misfits. Most people probably know them. It seems that his powers are he can create a force field. He has deflection and superhuman speed. So similar to what we were saying, just
he doesn't use like vegetable oil to get there. He actually just runs fast.
It's not hair grease or vegetable oil. It's just like a natural, like, you know, force field that he creates. But I'm gonna say we just 100% nailed it. It's greaser.
We nailed it. I'm just saying though, like it would have been so much better, like because like could you imagine if like he just like Crisco'd people like pocket sand, like Crisco.
All right, Steven, give me one more letter.
X.
X. Ooh. Okay. Let's see. Go to X. There are a very limited.
I figured it'd be limiting, and then I figured it would be very. I mean, if you're calling somebody with an X in their name, it's going to be pretty straightforward what they do, right?
Okay. This one is 0, and it's just XER 0, like 0.
I hate when people spell 0 with an X.
Yeah.
0. So, shit.
I mean,
I would hope he would have like a power negating power, almost like zeros them out. Like he just
nice.
like,
I like that.
When you're around me, you have no powers. Like
but he's like Leech.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he's like Leech. Can't control it. Maybe it's almost like an aura around him. So I always deal with auras. If you notice, I like. Auras.
I see that. I was thinking of like a robot, and I guess it could be like a robot with like a electromagnetic pulse situation who like cancels out all, you know, just like he stops all other creatures who are similar to him, you know, like that kind of.
I just hope his catchphrase is "There is 0 chance of you winning this bout."
Because you love Mega Man so much, that's exactly what a Mega Man character called 0 would say.
Sizzling circuits.
Okay. Status hero, real name Coltrane Train Walker. He can speed up any object's molecular structure to walk on water or through walls. Dead-eye laser and deadlock adhesive.
So wait, he can kitty pride other things?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, he can make other things phase through things. He can speed up their molecular structure.
That's a friggin' cool power.
Dude, that's super powerful. Like, that's insanely powerful. That's like
because if you can make something, because the thing is, because like Kitty Pryde, it was always like, oh, she could like punch you and then re-solidify inside of you and blow you up. But this dude can straight up throw a brick at your face and then solidify it once it's in your face.
Yeah,
like it'll phase through you and then just,
dude. I mean, he could literally put his hand out and pull your brain through your face without messing up your smile, and then just.
So he'd be a really good surgeon too.
That's true. He would be like a surgeon. Zero. Hey. We weren't even close with that one, but it's a really cool sounding character. I don't know what he like. It's a good thing he's a
Coltrane's a strong name too. That's awesome.
He's an African American athlete, train walker. He's famous power forward for the National City Vipers. He's also Coltrane Walker, a clandestine government agency assassin who preserved his secret identity by disguising himself as a blonde and blue-eyed Caucasian covert operative. So
what?
So he's a black dude who disguised himself as a white dude to get away with it, and then he ended up dying. Crazy. Steven, what a character. Hang on, this is amazing. So he is a professional basketball player who has a second life as a government assassin, and he ends up dying, but he gets infused with this enzyme that brings him back to life and gives him perfect health and also these crazy abilities. So that's where his stuff, that's where all of his powers come from. But it also took away like all of his sensation and like his emotions and stuff. So he's like a perfect killer.
He's just wow. So,
yeah.
But is he still a good guy, or is he? Does that sound like a supervillain backstory?
It does sound like a supervillain backstory, but it seems that it's just a tragedy, is what it is. Like he starts off as like this basketball star who like is talented enough to go into like, you know, he's a secret agent, he's an assassin, he's like disguising himself and being awesome. Then he gets all these powers and he's using them for good, but it's just slowly deteriorating who he is, and then eventually it looks like he dies, and then he gets resurrected, but he has brain damage and there are issues, and like it's very DC. So
projectile Kitty Pryde power is pretty dope.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't have thought of that. I was thinking for sure robot. I guess they went with like emotional robot, but like I wouldn't have thought like that's pretty cool. I wouldn't have assumed it was like an assassin who can like what? How's he killing people? I'd like to write that book. That's pretty neat, you know?
Yeah,
because I mean
that's a pretty unique power.
Yeah, it is. Like, and everything's a weapon. Like, you are the perfect bullseye. You know, like anything is a weapon. You can either pull things from people's bodies or not. Like, even if he can't control things like where they go, he's speeding up their molecular structure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's give him Gambit rules, and he can't do it to animate like living objects.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
even if that's the case. I mean, he's like the Jackie Chan of like weapons, because like he could literally push your head into a traffic cone and phase it, and then unphase it into your head. Like that's nuts. Like this dude can just be he's a trained assassin on top of it, so he's doing those moves. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he can like speed up or move the molecules of anything, right, to cause him to phase through stuff.
Right.
So does he have like a Magneto thing going where he can kind of like sense anything in his area that he can control? Like, for example, if someone tried to shoot him with a bullet, could his body be able to naturally stop the bullet and phase it? Like, so like, would he be like Magneto in the sense that he would sense the molecules around him, and if someone fired a bullet at him, would he be able to phase the bullet in time? Like, would his body naturally react to those molecules? Can he can he feel that bullet firing off? And like,
is it like a Darwin-esque like reactionary reactionary,
or does he have to see the object he's phasing? Like because obviously you can't see a bullet, it's moving so fast. So like, would he have to see it, or would he actually sense the molecules in the, like, could he already like be phasing the entire clip of bullets in the gun before even?
I like the idea that the character himself has lost touch with his humanity because he has extended himself outwardly. and he's realized that he is a part of everything, you know. So he's just like, all molecules are like, you know, vibrating at various frequencies and similar frequencies all around me, and he can sense all of them, which is why he disassociates from his individual body. That's what I think would be a really cool concept. So then therefore, like, he extends himself, so when he sees the bullet coming at him, it's just like, you wouldn't punch yourself in the face, so he just lets it go through, or lets
it's all him.
It's all
everything.
him.
He's just in tune with everything around him.
That's why I think like he would
make sense.
I think he'd be in tune with everything around him, and that would drive him kind of like nihilistically to believe that like everything is one, but there is no me, and I don't matter, and therefore my history doesn't matter because nothing, you know. So it's just like he kind of cycle that like large, you know, like God perspective of, you know, we're all connected, and what does that mean? And, you know, like, because you can go either way with that. You can go light or dark with everything is connected, and, you know, everything is one. It's just like, do I matter? No, because in the grand scheme of things, my molecules will be rearranged, and my energy will cycle back through the universe, and I'll be a, you know, a bug or a flower, or, you know, whatever it may be, and it doesn't matter what happens to me or what happens to my parents or what happens to my, you know. So then you end up in a dark space for it according to other people, you know. Like, he might just kind of be like, it is what it is, so it goes, you know. But, you know,
yeah, got you. It is, yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
I mean, I think it's
not necessarily apathetic, but just like,
you end up like what's his name, Dr. Manhattan from. That's
exactly what I was trying to think of his name when I was stammering there for a second. I'm like, I'm imagining like when like that whole sequence with him, and it's just a very, it is what it is situation. Like, it's just nothing matters.
I mean, who of us hasn't been there? Like, I mean, I know I've spent time on Mars and the moon, and just
I have definitely painted myself blue and gotten butt naked and just shook it around.
Steven stirring paint. I thought we weren't talking about our downstairs mix-ups today, Steven. Episode 99 is the last one. This is all we got. All right, dude. What time is it? Let me see.
Episode 100. It's all downstairs. I'm just kidding.
Episode 100 is
all,
just
oops, all downstairs mix-ups.
It's just one and then two testicles, Steven. That's what it is. The 1, 2 testicles. But
it's just AC/DC singing about them.
So. Okay, Steven, I kind of like, I had like a mild thought that I wanted to do for like a Pitches Get Stitches, and like, I don't know right now, dude. Like, I have two thoughts. I don't know if they're good enough. I'm gonna go with one of them. I'm gonna shoot it out to you, and I'm gonna see what you think. I don't know if it's something that, like, you know what? I'm just gonna say to the world, if you want this idea, you can just have it. Like, I'm never gonna do anything with this. It's just like a random thing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a thought that I had that I was like, this could be cool, but I won't ever do anything. So anyway, go ahead, Steve.
This is a minor Pitches Get Stitches.
So, okay, Steven. so imagine
minor, like little, like a little Pitches Get Stitches, not like it's a young pitch. It's like it's
a much older Pitches Get Stitches. It's just it's like not like a grand Pitches Get Stitches.
It's not the grandfather of Pitches Get Stitches. It's the
now we're really confusing.
What you're saying, Steven? You're saying it's super young? Is it older or young, Steven? What is happening with the Pitches Get Stitches? I'm very confused about how you're setting this up today.
Pitches Get Stitches can totally grab a beer with you if it wants to.
Okay. Legally, in America.
In Germany, though, so it's still up in the
air. All over the place. So, if you're watching at home, you've never seen us do a Pitches Get Stitches segment. Basically, what happens is I have a random idea that just I can't stop thinking about, and I don't necessarily have anything to do with it. So I want to share it with Steven. I want to get it out into the world. Sometimes we talk through it, and sometimes it becomes a cool idea that, like, I think we can do stuff with. This one, I don't know, Steven. Okay, so Steven, imagine for a second. There's a serial killer, right? Just Dexter-esque, like, serial killer out there, but totally, like, morally dark, like, just, like, out for blood, has his own methods, his own, like, reasoning for whatever he's doing, but he's out there, and of course, like most, like, disgusting, monstrous serial killers, he's out there killing women, right? Like, he's doing it. It's terrible. So he's out there, he's killed, like, several people, and, like, the town is, people are like, what do we do? How do we, what do we do about this? And so they enact a curfew, they like go through, they're like, we don't want anyone else to get killed. So the killer is out there, and he's looking around, and he's just like, it's having a harder time finding people, you know, and like he's just like going to the parks trying to find the kids who are making out in their cars or whatever it may be. And he's just like driving around town, and suddenly he sees just like a little girl just standing in the middle of the street, and he's like, cha-ching, you know, like gonna get her. And as he approaches, he sees that her eyes light up, and he's like, what, you know, and he's just like, I don't know, you know. And then like she like raises like from the ground, like her feet slowly raise and her head tilts, and like this like kind of like demonic voice comes out, and it just says like, we've been watching, and just like he's like, what the fuck, and like, you know,
what
so
am
he
I
like
seeing?
takes
This was normal. Life was normal prior to this demon girl floating in front of me.
Yes, so he's
well, as normal as life can be for a serial killer. My apologies.
So he drives away, and he's just like, oh my god, like what, like he's like, this is my like Son of Sam dog talking to me moment. Like I've taken a turn. The devil is real, and he knows my name, you know, like one of those, like I don't know what's going on. And like as he turns, he sees there's a woman just walks out of her house, and like eyes glowing, and she starts floating toward the car, and just like kind of puts her hands up against the car, floating as he drives, and she's just like slamming the, you know, the windows of the car, and just kind of like saying like, we know what you've done, and just like you know, like pushing on the windows. He takes off. The woman like fades into the darkness again. So as the story progresses, you find out that all of the women that he's killed are haunting this town, and they're starting to slowly learn how to take the form of different bodies, and they're coming after him. So they're going to possess people to get revenge and make sure he doesn't hurt anyone else. So it's
That's awesome.
It's just a movie about or like a story about like the victims, you know, like getting their revenge and making sure that it never happens again. And it would be called The Hunter Becomes the Haunted.
Oh, that's awesome. The pun is what I'm always waiting for. Every time I'm just waiting for it. The hunter becomes the haunted. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
It's just like a fun, I'm never going to do anything with that. If you like that idea, it's yours. I don't care. I'm not going to sue you. Here's legal proof of it. Like, go ahead, take it, use the title. I don't care. Become a billionaire and tell people about our podcast. I don't.
And then, you know, give us like 2% of that, and then just.
Oh, God. I mean, seriously. But anyway, but we do those all the time. Actually, like, Steven, I'm telling you, we're going to make a movie. It's going to happen. I'm going to finish writing Deathless, and I'm going to write the screenplay for this short film. That's what I want to do after. I mean, while I'm lettering and stuff. I'm not going to take a break from Deathless at all, ever. But so every week we start the show with what we've done. We talk about a bit of nonsense, do some fun segments. And at the end, Steven, every week we talk about what we're going to do next. So what's up next time? What's going on this week for you?
So I want to start getting a lot of pages done. So I just don't know how to gauge the time on them yet, because versus like drawing them. But I'm going to say minimum 3, but I think I'm going to get more like 10 done. But yeah. I don't think it's going to take that long. Once I get to like, especially like living room pages, things like that, where I can just do easy shading, it's going to go quick. So I think once I'm through the first 3 pages, I should be okay. So cool. I'm going to go ahead and say like 3 to 5 pages, but I'm going to aim for 10. So
awesome.
I'm going to commit to 3.
Awesome.
I'm going to say 10.
Yeah. Okay. So this week I am going to completely finish writing issue 2 of Deathless, and that's what I'm gonna focus on. I should be able to get it done probably by Thursday. That's my plan. I'm gonna get issue 2 completely written, like send you over the first draft so you can see it, and like, you know, start toying with anything you want to toy with, like design wise, because there are some new concepts and stuff that we're going to have to, you know, like work through, and it'll be fun. But that's what I'm gonna work on this week, and then the following week I'm gonna letter issue 1 and like just get it done while you're coloring. And then if I catch up with you, I'll flat from the back forward or something, you know, like we'll figure that out like when the time comes. But like, I can't wait, dude. I'm gonna finish issue 2. I'm so excited for our episode 100 live show, dude. Like it's going to be It's going to be so much fun.
Fantastic.
I don't know if anyone's going to join us. I feel like at least a couple people will, like based on like what they've said on Twitter. If you have any questions for us, or if you want to join us for episode 100, or if you can't join us but have some questions for us, feel free to ask them below in the comments. Ask us over on Twitter. Send us an email at wehaveissuespod@gmail.com, and we'd love to address all of your questions or like, you know, comments. And if you want us to do a monster segment, you have some monsters you want to suggest, like let us know. That would be so much fun. I love doing that segment, and I'm glad to hear from anyone. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Please join us next week for episode 100. The link is in the description. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast yet, please. Like, I mean, we're at 99 episodes. This is episode 99.
And if you feel guilty because you haven't, and so you do sub, make an alt account and sub with that too. Give us two.
No, like
2 for 1 special.
Look, if you just realize, if you look at the subscription button and you're like, oh my gosh, I am not subscribed, but now it's embarrassing because they're going to see the little notification. Do not feel that way. I will 100% just be thankful for every new subscription.
Absolutely, you're not going to be shamed.
No matter what. Everyone has been so helpful, and we are just so thankful to have all of your support. And we love you guys. We promise we're going to be doing some cool interviews and some really fun stuff after episode 100. We're trying to get to this, like, you know, big moment in our podcast, and then like once we get past that, it's gonna be like a season 2 sort of situation, I guess. But anyway, thank you all. Thank you for making it this far with us. Steven, I love you. I love doing this. It's been great so far. I think it's going really well.
It has been. It's going great. I don't see it ending anytime soon. Like this is who we are now. This is what my extracurricular activities are. So.
Do it. I can stop it.
Downstairs, Nick.
It's the Ballasode, everyone. Welcome to episode 99. No. But we love you.
Balls and
I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
This has been an episode 99 of We Have Issues. We'll see you next time.
Love you.
Love you. I have to be like super careful about it because I don't have a mouse. It's just a tablet. So I have to be like, push the right button. And if I push the wrong one, it ruins the whole podcast forever.
And then we're just SOL.
I just panic and like, I guess we have to start over. Be a new podcast. Just new.
Hello, everyone. We no longer have it. Well, we had a major issue, and now
we had one big issue to rule them all, and now it's apocalyptic issues, Stephen. This is our apocalypse podcast. It's apocalyptic do's and don'ts with Anthony and Stephen. We're here to talk to the people about the things that they want to know about. We are both doom preppers. I don't know if everyone knows this about us. We've been doom preppers our whole lives. I've been really preparing for like mental like apocalypse, and it keeps happening over and over and over. Mental and emotional, just heartbreak over and over. But now, Stephen, we are dealing with Armageddon, Harmageddon. We're gonna harm that. We're gonna have harm on our hearts.
Can I just give the people one piece of advice when surviving an apocalypse?
Yeah.
The more dented the can, the better the food inside.
Okay.
Try it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, what it does is like the more you dent a can, it just, first of all, it means that can's probably been used and abused in more ways than one. It shows you that it's a versatile, apocalyptic tool.
And there's just absolutely no bacteria in there at all. Like it's not like there's like, something crazy festering in the can. Just eat it.
How could there be? If the can isn't breathing, it's worth eating. That's the tips.
I just want, dude. You know what can of stuff I want? I don't know why, and maybe you remember this scene from the movie, but this
is it Dennis the Menace
throwback. But no, but it's that's also. Why were there so many canned food scenes in the 90s? They were really pushing that Chef Boyardee,
right?
But in the beans. But no. I don't know if you remember a little flick called Mr. Nanny starring Hulk Hogan.
Okay,
yeah. He was like the bodyguard of the 2 kids. Well, he was the nanny, but he became the bodyguard. And I don't know, like the 90s was crazy and rife with supervillains.
Yeah,
that weren't
for sure.
But the guy had the metal head and all that.
Yeah. I mean, just like in what do you call
it?
Yeah, but just like in Surf Ninjas and stuff, like, there was always some weird version. Like,
they
were all about like
Neeson,
that weird.
Liam Neeson, not Neeson.
Yeah.
They were like the weird villains, like the weird powered villains.
It's like the weird.
But
like,
anyways, there's just this random little one-off scene. Yeah, for sure they were. They're like over the top, which was pretty cool. I wonder if there was like some Power Ranger influence there or something. Maybe I don't know. But a scene that stuck with me for no reason whatsoever is George Jefferson, like the guy that plays Jefferson from back in the 70s. You know, he's like Hulk Hogan's mentor or whatever. And Hulk Hogan goes to his house and he's having a chat with him, not knowing what to do, this and that. And he goes, he looks over at the stove and there's just a pot of water boiling. And in the center of the boiling water is a can of like beefaroni. And he's like, he lets it boil on the stove, then he pops the can out of the can into the man. I don't know why that line stuck. So I've always wanted to eat boiled canned food. I don't know.
Episode really 100. Steven's gonna do it live. Live Chef Boiled RD.
My face. Just like
Harvey.
Turns out content's under pressure. Just a botulism like napalm just bursts out of this can.
And that's what you don't do during the apocalypse, kids. All right.
Turns out out of the can into the man is not a good way to live your life or like a creed to live by whatsoever. So,
you can keep. What else is a Pringles can for if not keeping your manhood safe in those harsh times? You know.
Wait, still though, out of the can into the man though? I mean, like, is that
you take it out into another? I'm just
wait.
Pringles is not a sponsor yet. We will get them. We're gonna get Pringles.
Does that count? So, since the Pringles can is phallic in shape, does that count as docking? Or is this too much for our podcast?